I forgot how to do these intro things, but okay, basically, Cleopatra documentary critique and podcast. Okay, so we're just gonna talk about how we feel about this, right? What's the perceptions? Obviously, we've noticed that there's a lot of controversy around the topic of Cleopatra. Was she black? A whole lot of insults that Afrocentrism is receiving. So I want I wanted to gather some individuals together so we can like talk about these topics. So um starting with Guardian, introduce yourselves and we'll go to Sule and yeah.
Hello, my name is Guardian, and a bit about myself. As I'll say, I'm an explorist, and I like to get into history. So that's just a little all on me.
Alright, let's go. What about you, Sule? Introduce yourself.
My name is Sule. Um, so currently at college studying exercise science. I like to study history sometimes, here and then, see what's the truth. Yeah.
Alright. Alright, so basically okay, what were you guys' first feelings when you heard about this? About like this Cleopatra documentary, everybody's criticizing it. What are your first feelings about it?
Me, I was just like, yeah. 'Cause I know Cleopatra's not black. Like, first of all, I
Yeah,
know she's not. I just know she's a chick from Greece that was just whoring around. That's all. She was
yeah,
sucking dick left and right. That's all I know.
yeah.
She was getting dicked down by multiple niggas. I don't give a fuck. I don't know how many niggas she was getting dicked down by. I just know she was just one of them chicks that was getting dicked down left and right.
Yeah, they even called it the Egyptian whore, bro. That shit was like
Yeah.
the
Yep.
Greeks and the Romans. They called her like the Egyptian whore, bro. I even got it out of this one book I got over here. What about you, Guardian man? How were your first feelings about it?
I mean, it's quite disappointed. I didn't honestly see what the directors were going with this, film or show.
Yeah,
I was kind of I didn't understand why they even. I don't even know how it went through the producers. I don't know how it was like agreed upon. Like how it went like yes, we're gonna do this. When
yeah, bro.
historically inaccurate. As you can see, if we're talking about Cleopatra, she was a Greek and Macedonian, which she was literally not Egyptian, modern day Egyptian, nor black.
Exactly.
So I don't get the skin complexion, and I don't get where they even trying to come from. So I'm a bit confused and yeah, quite disappointed.
Yeah, man. Yeah, I feel the same way. Yeah, like I knew that it was obviously very wrong, and it's honestly kind of disappointing to me because it's like misrepresenting the Afrocentric movement, especially when it comes to the position of Egypt. Like most Afrocentrics, like they kind of criticize Cleopatra. Like I even heard people say like, "Oh, she's the reason why the kingdom fell" and all this type of stuff. But honestly, yeah, I think I think honestly they need to the filmmakers need to stop listening to the media and all that type of stuff, bro, and like hire like a historian or like do some research because I was sitting here like, bro, like Cleopatra wasn't black, like she wasn't, yeah, like you said, like she wasn't even an Egyptian, you know. So like I think it's honestly just because it's like she's popular, you know.
That that's the thing. I mean that's what I'm saying. Like, how did this go through the producers? Like, there's no way. Like, who are
Yeah,
they listening to?
yeah, that's exactly what I mean, bro. Because I'm like, bro, like they even been doing this with the other movies too. Like I think I told you guys before, like Troy. They like the Troy with the Brad Pitt on Netflix, right? I used to watch it like a couple months ago. It's my favorite movie, bro. And then like they took off that movie and replaced it with a new movie with a black guy playing as Achilles instead of Brad Pitt. And I was sitting here like, bro, nobody. I never asked for this, bro. Did you ask for this? I never asked for this, bro. I'm like, whose idea was this, bro? Cause like I never wanted Achilles to be black, bro. You get what I mean? Like
Yes,
it's
yes.
ridiculousness, man.
As the same thing goes for the things that were coming up on Netflix, the new Netflix shows or movies. right?
Yeah.
There's something called the queen. There's a person named I forgot. I don't know if she's a queen or not, but she goes by the name Boleyn, and
Mm.
she was not black at all. She was not black.
Oh yeah.
Let's get that out of the way. Queen Charlotte was not black. It was not black. I don't know.
Mm.
See, what is the agenda they're trying to push? Whoa, what's the narrative?
Exactly, man. Yeah, I feel like I won't even lie. There's been like a lot of misrepresentation on the part of Afrocentrism because like people don't really. Most of the people who get labeled Afrocentric, some people even claim it like don't really even know exactly like the goal of it. Cause like a lot like even Brother Polite called it out as well. Like it's not even supposed. You're not even really supposed to be claiming Egypt like you actually have a ancestor there, if that's even the point. Or like you know what I mean, or claiming people in history that were black but they weren't really. You know, it's really Afrocentrism is really just like a way of like redefining what it means to be African. And I feel like these movies kind of like misrepresented what it like means to be African and like how black people think about history. You know, like, how do you guys feel about that? Like, what do you guys think this kind of like showed people about the way that black people think or the perception they created?
I just feel like Afrocentrism is just viewed wrongly.
Mm,
Um, it is not the way you think it is at all. I
yeah.
mean, it's the I mean the way people at least use it. People use it as a leverage, as to let's say like how should I say like step over people and stuff like that. You know,
Mm,
I feel like we should not create a movement or we should not create something that then tends to be hateful or anything like that. I feel like Afrocentrism itself did not originated like it did not started off hate. It didn't start off like something that people would reject. Is it like is you modern day times when people hear Afrocentrism, it's like it gets rejected quickly. I think that
yeah.
is something we need to be reformed on.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly, bro. Cause it's like I don't think like we all know like Afrocentrism. It kind of like I was even talking with a guy in the history chat. If you could like look if you want to later, but he was like he was asking me about Afrocentrism and my views, and I told him I was like, yo, like Afrocentrism again is just supposed to redefine what it means to be African, and you know, we all know like it initially came up as a response to Eurocentrism and specifically the elements of Eurocentrism, which said that black people had no history and that we're like inherently inferior and like you know we're slaves and
Every
like nothing
primate
good can come. Yeah, and like nothing good can come from us. Afrocentrism is
Yeah,
supposed to just like reverse that and actually like show and bring a highlight on the achievements and contributions of Black Africa, you know, to the world. And to see it getting rejected in such a way, and to see it being poorly represented in such a way, is like it's a slap to the face, honestly.
exactly. It was not. It was something like it was like a way that I think Afrocentrism was a way that it was to show people that we were just not slaves. That's that right there. That is not the end of our history. That
Yeah,
is not
man.
where our history started. But people took it
Exactly.
the wrong way.
Yeah, man. Yeah, cause I feel like even to like my friend, he noticed like I was on the live with him before. He said that like cause let's be honest, like Black America is like a big pusher of this as well, like of Afrocentrism, and like it's a good thing, you know. But like he shows, like he said that like he can tell like that Black people are sort of tired of being shown as slaves, and that like they want to be seen as something else, and you know they don't want to like identify as slaves, you know. Like we want to show the good things, you know what I mean? Cause it's like if they wanted to make an Egyptian movie about blacks, right? What's the 25th dynasty? You know what I mean? Like we need movies on like the Sudanese history. We need you know what I mean? We need
Yeah,
movies on like other African
guy.
history. Yeah,
the
man. Like Egypt, huh?
quote unquote Black Dynasty.
Yeah, the so-called Black Dynasty. They need to tell the truth about the origins of Egypt. They need to talk about the Proto-Nilotes. Okay, they need to talk about the East African connections. But like that's another. But like for a movie, right? if you're gonna make a black Egyptians, right, and not put the 25th dynasty, don't put Cleopatra as black, bro. Don't put Cleopatra as black, cause that's just an outright like insult. You get what I mean? Like I feel like too, like as someone who like studies this stuff a lot, bro. The Egyptians kind of carried a North Ethiopic phenotype, so they looked a lot like Sudanese and like other Cushitic people as well, Somalis as well. They didn't really like a lot of people are trying to like Eurasianize the Nile Valley, bro. Like I see that happening a lot with especially with Egypt. Now they're even trying to do that so with Nubia, you know. They're trying to make there are people out there actually trying to make it seem like Nubia was like all Cushitic, and that like Egypt was like all Eurasian. It's the same as it is today. And I think this is like it's a slap to the face to like indigenous groups of the area, because it's like very rarely do we ever really get acknowledged, And it's like every single time that you see like a lot of people, whenever they see black people in ancient Egypt, whatever, they either in denial or they just get labeled a Nubian. You know what I'm saying? And so I think like it's just craziness, man. Like even too, I've seen like a bunch of Egyptians like going crazy, piping up on TikTok, talking about like the Egyptians weren't black, and like showing Nubians getting crushed under the wheels of the pharaohs and whatever. It's like it's completely ridiculousness, bro.
Yeah, man. I just feel like I agree. You'd also call it. I just it's rooted in the back, right?
Mm.
Afrocentrism is like it's an intellectual and cultural movement that seeks to center African history and perspectives within the study of history, culture, and politics. I feel like as you said before, like it was like a response to like the Eurocentric and like the Western dominated perspectives that have long premeditated academia and popular discourse. Basically, I feel
Mm.
like well, the movement like aims to like reclaim the heritage, dignity, and like achievement of people of African descent, like whose history has like often obscured or like marginalized. I mean, it is true that some people might misunderstand like the intentions of Afrocentrism, think that is like the size. I mean, or are thinking that is like exclusive. However, like Afrocentrism is like it's intended to promote the understanding in the rich and like diverse contributions of African people and the diaspora beyond like the limited narrative of the enslavement.
Mm.
Like for an example, like by focusing on the achievements of African civilizations like art, science, and culture, Afrocentrism like seeks to correct historical inaccuracies, counteract like negative stereotypes, and foster like a more balanced understanding of world history. It is important to recognize the various like historical narratives that exist, and is to appreciate like the value and knowledge that can be gained by considering these different perspectives.
Mm. Yeah, man. Yeah, man. Hey, take a look at this, bro. This is like an Afrocentric, anti-Afrocentric propaganda again, bro. Like like on TikTok, it's serious, bro. Like you see, like what's it called, bro? Like Wikipedia sources. You know what I'm saying? Like it's like it just doesn't really compete. And but and like guess how much how many likes this got?
23? Yeah, I'd say 23 point, I don't know, 5 or something.
23.3K likes
Oh, it's
and
23. Okay.
3,000 comments, bro. So like a lot of people like now they're like is like they're not scared to like what I'm saying, go against Afrocentrism. And then again, look, they use a picture like this to prove that Egyptians weren't black. What are your feelings?
Are you talking about that picture that seems it's like a war picture, right?
This one.
Wait, you know much more about that more clearly, right? So tell me why that some Nubians like or say like some Nubians were getting crushed over or something like that. Tell me about the war or what's going on in that picture.
Yeah. Basically, like again, I feel like there's a fallacy being made here, and is that people are basically like his point about proving this is that like since these two people were fighting, they have no relationships, and therefore they aren't really the same people. And it's kind of like not even all Egyptians were the same. I feel like a lot of scholars recognize that there was a lot of ethnic difference even within Egyptian societies. And then trying to group everybody who was black in the ancient Nile Valley as the monolith as Nubian, something an identity which didn't really exist at that time. The word Nubian didn't really even get started. Didn't even really get started to get used until like around the 3rd century BC, and the first people to use the word Nubian was Greek. You get what I mean? So there's a lot of like misunderstanding. Again, it's just a bunch of anti-Afrocentrism, as the it says here. But honestly, I feel like this is propaganda. It's nothing else. You know what I mean? It's nothing else but propaganda. I think obviously, right? I don't deny the fact that Egyptians today can claim ancient Egypt. I'm completely okay with that. Where I have a problem is where people try to separate black Africans, especially the East Africans, who probably would be Africans who have most connections with the ancient black Egyptians. I hate when people try to separate us and say that you guys could have never achieved what we achieved in Egypt. Stop trying to claim it. You guys have no relationship to it because that it just shows a lack of understanding of the prehistoric populations of Egypt, which I discuss a lot in my paper. So the thing is, bro, the idea is that like since these people were fighting, since Egyptians drew things like this and like this, therefore they were 100% different people, no relationship at all. You know, but this is false, and actually, it's been mentioned by many scholars that things like this was just propaganda. It was just state propaganda, and in real life, we actually see something pretty different, and is that a lot of Egyptians actually adopted Nubian material culture. A lot of intermarriage was happening, and a lot of that type of stuff was happening going on, and so these people who are anti-Afrocentric, they are right in sense. Like I wouldn't support that. Like a West African, for example, is like a descendant of like the Pharaoh, and like all of Egypt was like a West African. But they are definitely wrong in trying to push the narrative that Africa or Sub-Saharan Africa has nothing to do with ancient Egypt. I think that's just a lie.
Oh, okay. Okay, that makes sense. That makes sense. I can see the point you're making.
Yeah, yeah. Cause like I got like copious amounts of work, and I might actually make not podcasts, but like lecture videos like on this in the future, just showing certain things like what are the Nilotic connections, what are the Cushitic connections, or what are the Black Sub-Saharan African connections. You know what I mean? And like we can talk about this in more detail. But yeah. So let's see, man.
Hmm.
Do you guys feel like this? I don't know if you guys seen the documentary trailer, but do you feel like it was a chick flick? And what I mean by that is like kind of like a feminist wash, because I've seen there's like recently there's a big emphasis on like this strong black woman, and I've seen throughout the documentary that like in the trailer that they tried to sort of push that narrative, saying that Cleopatra was black, and like she did have like a curlier hair and a darker skin, and that she was doing her best to defend her country or nation, which was Egypt. Sort of this notion of the strong black woman that's being pushed, which is like very like feminist and like kind of has a lot of its issues. But do you guys feel the same way, or do you guys feel the same way, and or not?
Yeah, I
Um,
just know there's been a lot of feminist agenda.
Yeah, yeah. It's like the movie like The Woman King. You know what I mean? Where it's like it represents like the black misrepresents black relationships towards Europeans in specific historical context, while also trying to like feminist wash them. So I don't know how you feel about it, Guardian.
I just feel like I haven't watched let's say the trailer that you speak of, but
Mm.
at least coming from your words, I'd say that I don't know, I mean,
Mm.
to be honest, they do have, I don't know this. there's like more. How should I say? Like there's more Netflix series going on with the same thing, like Black Queen, everything. Like,
Yeah,
I just feel like there might be something about that. There might be a feminist movement going on in it,
yeah, yeah, man. I think
because that's not a
honestly,
coincidence.
yeah, I think honestly, right, the best movie to push this narrative, right. And here's the thing, though. It's like here's the like the conspiracy part about it, right? The best move, if they really want to push that, why is there not you know the story about how the Kushites defeated the Romans, right?
Yeah.
And how the person who led them was a Nubian or a Kushite queen.
Hmm?
This is the perfect movie for that strong black woman narrative. Why are they not pushing it? Is it because this is real history and it's something that actually happened? Is it because this embarrasses the Western world? Is this why we don't have that movie? You know,
Um,
because
that'll be
that's
a
the
very powerful movie. Yeah.
it's like that's the real history, bro. You know what I mean? It goes like you know how the Nubian queen shit is like it's very popular. You know what I mean? Like I feel like there would be some controversy a little bit, like if they had like I feel like Sudanese would go crazy if they had like an African American, like a West African, South African play, but like you know what I mean? Like it goes hand in hand with like that narrative, the Nubian queen again, the Nubian queen narrative, bro. Like
Exactly. Like you said, it'll fit just like a glove.
one
And
hundred
yes.
percent. You know? Like we need movies like that. You know what I mean? Like, you know, the movies on the 25th Dynasty for like the black guys, right? For the black men to feel empowered, and then like the movie on how the Kushites defeated the Roman for the Nubian Queen narrative. We need the movie on Mensa Musa and his life, you know, and like the West African kingdoms. We need more of these like African types of movies, you know. And it's like, you know, like I've talked about this even with the live when I was with the Rwandan and Somali girl, and like we was like talking about like, yeah, like we need these types of movies based on like actual black African history that we don't even really need to debate about, you know. Egypt, again, like we can still put black people in Egypt. I'm not saying like it's a crime to have like a black actor to play as an Egyptian character. I don't think that's a crime, honestly, because there's some truth to it. But or like have an East African to be, you know. But the thing is though is like I think with Cleopatra, like sometimes we just know better, you know. Like again with the Cleopatra, it's like we should have known better. And I feel like the reason why they chose Cleopatra is like probably because like she's the most like popular woman pharaoh of like Western culture, you know. Like that's who like, you know, like whenever you think of Egypt, like you tend to think like King Tut, Cleopatra, you know, maybe some of the other pharaohs if you know a little bit more about Egypt, you know.
Do you think people uh will say like Queen Cleopatra? Do you think that's the first thing that comes to their mind when it comes to ancient Egypt? Do you think if you could roam the streets and ask any like strange person if they know something about ancient Egypt, do you think Cleopatra were going through their minds?
Yeah, obviously, like you know what I'm saying. I think yeah, they would kind of make that association. Like when you think like the pharaohs of Egypt, you would most likely like, you know, if you know the names like Cleopatra, she's like one of the most popular ones today. You know, especially in the Western world, she's like the most popular ones. Like even Katy Perry, I think you've seen too, is like an old music video from like 2014, 2013. Like when she played as like an Egyptian pharaoh, there wasn't even any outrage, to be honest, bro. There wasn't even any outrage, and I don't know what Katy Perry is, but I don't think she's Egyptian. What's it called? And there wasn't any
Yeah.
outrage, you know. But Cleopatra, I would agree that Cleopatra was probably like white, you know what I mean? But even too like on racial in racial terms, you know what I mean? Like Katy Perry playing as Cleopatra, because that's basically what she did. It was the song I think called Dark Horse with Juice with this guy called Juicy J, and Cleopatra. I said Cleo. Katy Perry played as Cleopatra, and nobody really said anything about it. Like people actually like the music video. You get what I mean? But like, you know, when a black person does it, still it's historically wrong, but now there's a lot of outrage, you know. So it's like,
I feel like, what's it called? How about the other queens? Like for an example, I mean Nefertari. Um, and what was that queen again? With the
Hatshepsut. I don't even know how to say her name. I could even say her
the
name.
third one, the most recognizable. I mean, the one that people know a lot.
Nefertiti.
Yeah, Nefertiti.
Yeah. So, yeah, man. It's just like, I think the thing is though, is like there was like a narrative that they tried to push. They tried to push that Cleopatra was actually black, but I don't know. I might actually have to watch it just so I can like get more in depth, like see exactly what is the argument that they're putting forward. You get what I mean? Because I feel like a lot of people, I am kind of dismissing it without looking at it, but like from what I know about like historical evidence, it's like she was Macedonian or like a Greek, you know.
Didn't you say that? You know, um, didn't you say that was somebody in like in the movie that they said that Cleopatra was black and then they went with it?
100%. Yeah, they were trying to say describe her as like there was this one guy. Even I think there was some Egyptians in there, bro. Like modern Egyptians, bro. Like pushing this narrative too. So it's weird. But there was a black woman, right, who said like, I know she's kind of. I probably shouldn't even mention that, but like she was kind of saying like no matter what, my grandma told me no matter what, Cleopatra was black, right? And I was just like, I'm like, okay, little cringe, but okay. And then there was this other, I think it was like Middle Eastern looking guy, or like some other thing, right? He was just saying like, oh yeah, like Cleopatra had like a darker skin, a curlier hair, like mentioning these things, basically trying to push that she was actually black, right? Like trying to make, try to make her like seem as close as possible. But honestly, like I wasn't really buying it, bro. I wasn't really buying it. I think if I can find this, right, it's the North Ethiopian phenotype, bro. This is how I believe most Egyptians look like, especially when you're in the context of black Egyptians. But actually, as a matter, I might mention this in the in the lecture. I might make the next lecture this week about this. Okay. So there's a couple of things we have to like understand, right? This is the North Ethiopian phenotype. If you look at the phenotype, okay, somewhere around here, it's present and where's the present, right? Present in Beja and Nubians and Amharas, right? So this is where I kind of get it, right? And this is what they look like. Boom. This is what they look like, bro. Kind of like a darker skin. Even Zai Hawass, he's an archaeologist who criticizes Afrocentrism a lot. He does agree that the Egyptians generally had a darker skin tone and were not lighter skin. Something that even these anti-Afrocentrists on TikTok try to spread, right? So like it's no debate. The Egyptians did have a darker skin, but also, they said that this what's it called? This phenotype has affinities with the Mediterranean and played an important role in ancient Egypt. So what is this supposed to mean? It means that, probably a decent amount of Egyptians look like this guy. If you look at the walls, I don't think there's a, this is why like people say like the Beja people look a lot like Egyptians. You know what I mean? I don't necessarily agree that Bejas are like Egyptians like that. But I think they're like a better representation because like I heard like Bejas like they were like their own group that was in Egypt and Nubia at the time. They were like, I think the Bejas were the Medjai people. So, but if you want to look what it like an Egyptian looked like back then, bro. Hey man. Hold on. Yeah, bro. Like this, right? It's logical. It makes sense, But also, what's even crazier is that studies done on the Mesolithic Nubian, which is this guy at the top right here, they did craniometric analysis on Mesolithic Nubians, and like it's in a study called like Interpretations of Relations in the Nile Valley, amongst Nilotic populations. And they said that this guy's craniometrics or whatever, right? Craniometric analysis, right? Or samples, they actually clustered with later Egyptian samples. So there was probably Egyptians walking around looking like this guy, bro. It's basically what they say, bro. You know?
But
So
do you think
mm,
do you think they get those wrong? Those face analysis, like when they try to create somebody or say somebody looked like this time, this guy from this time. Do you think that's actually accurate from their depictions? I mean,
not all the time. Not all the time. I think in this case, right, it's kind of like obvious because it's like in the sense like we can tell from genetic evidence done on Nile Valley populations that this guy was probably most related to like a Nilotic person. This has been due to osteological evidences. So basically, when they measure, when they take like things like craniometric analysis and skeletal analysis, and they what do you call it? They compare them to like groups, especially groups today. And so like when you look at the linguistic migrations, you get what I mean. You'll sort of see where it matches back up, and you'll basically go back and this is the guy who they call the Proto-Nilotic, and then here's just like a collection of photos I put together of like other Nilotic people around the Nile Valley. So we have like the Kushites, we have the Nuers, the Dinkas, you know what I'm saying? The Dinka phenotype as well. So here we got Proto-Nilotic, Meroitic man, Nilotic phenotype, Kushites and Dinkas, Nuers and Kushites, Kushites and Dinkas, Nuers and Kushites. And it's actually interesting because when you go and look up the Dinkade phenotype, you will actually see that, we take up a considerable, amount of area that actually goes into Egypt. This is the area right there. The Dinkade phenotype. See how it goes all the way up to Egypt. And I think those are like the more prehistoric populations, and then where it's highlighted there, that's like where most of us live today. So, like, looking at this, right? I mentioned all of this for these reasons. We cannot separate blacks from Egypt. It's just you can't do it, bro. Cause this person is indigenous to the Nile, bro. You know what I mean? Like we're literally named after the Nile. So like you can't really like separate. Like obviously as well, like I don't really support saying Egyptians can't really claim ancient Egypt, because there was also like studies done on Sudanese cops that revealed that they actually carry haplogroups that go back to this man. You get what I mean? They carried some Nilotic haplogroups, the BM60, and they actually said that I actually posted videos on this where I actually said that these haplogroups actually reveal a colonization of southern Egypt by early Nilotic peoples. They even said that this goes in accordance with Egyptian mythology and religion. And so you know what I'm saying, there's definitely involvement right there. You know what I mean? There's definitely an influence. So to act like it's not there for the sake of, you know what I'm saying, embarrassing these Afrocentrics or, debunking the Afrocentric, I think is you'll just be lying,
Yeah, man. Yo, Sule, what you think about all this? He's not here.
It is what it is. But okay. Do you feel like the media should or that film producer should listen to the media? Because I feel like, remember when I think the movie was called Exodus came out and everybody was complaining about it being whitewashed, and now we got the Cleopatra thing done. You get what I mean? And now everybody's complaining about that, saying Egypt wasn't black. So, like, obviously, the execution that they did was just terrible. Like, the way that they executed was just terrible. But do you think that, listening to what the media says instead of doing actual research is hurts the actual craft of filmmaking.
Hell yeah.
For what reasons?
I just okay. Basically, I feel like the reason why these even go through is because they only listen to a sub or like because personally, I feel like they do not go with they go they go with a small how should I say amount of people. Something that everybody I feel like they went with like they went with somebody that had like close bonds with
Mm,
saying like Egypt. For an example, Cleopatra was black. I feel like
mm,
for the general consensus that every this was like this was not like something that was not informed to the public. I feel like this was like something done as like a closed group because generally who's out with their who's out here with their right minds would say Cleopatra was black.
mm. I see. Yeah, man.
That's all I gotta say. I feel like it's only a small minority.
Yeah, cause I feel like too, like when they let you know what I'm saying, outside things sort of affect, you know what I'm saying, like how they choose to make the movie, trying to like feminists watch it, make some inclusions. Like I think it really takes away from the craft as well, because now like there's a lot of controversy going around it, and like sometimes the movies just isn't really as great as it originally was or how it could have been. You know what I'm saying? Without these agendas, I think it just takes away from the craft, and like it really stops us from really being like actually being able to enjoy the film. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah, I agree.
Uh, but all right, man. It's gonna be the last question, but if you were gonna make a movie on African history, how exactly would you do it? What would you do, and why?
Um, Good question. If I was going to make a movie about something, it'll be about Mansa Musa,
Mm,
and his significance. I feel like that. I'll definitely I'll try to display that to the world.
I see. Why would you make a movie about that?
His importance and I feel like Mansa Musa and how he gained his wealth and how he individually helped what's it called it everybody that was within his circle.
Mm,
Also it'll be interesting on how his kingdom fell, stuff like and
mm,
how he lost power and stuff like yeah. Just like Patrice like an example like Patrice Lumumba,
mm.
an example like that, yeah.
Oh, yeah, I think that would be pretty interesting, especially with the Mansa Musa thing. Like, I feel like could make like a really nice cinematic. I feel like that would be hard, bro.
Yeah.
But yeah, what about you? So like, you still there?
Yeah. Because of African history, I'll just make it. It'll be more like seeing like look into like great black person, seeing what they did back in the
Mm.
days, make a movie about that and make it more accurate. They just taking it from everybody. No, just make it more accurate.
Yeah, yeah, 100%, man. Yeah, you know me, bro. I'll make a movie about the Kingdom of Kush. I'll probably make a 25th Dynasty movie because it's like I can see that, bro. I can see that. I feel like it would be a very exciting movie too. Uh, it goes with the thing black empowerment, and these are actual black people, you know. But yeah, um,
Exactly.
yeah,
If I
man.
was like a I was like a director producer, there will
Mm,
be many movies that would be made, and what's they call it? And the that queen that you're talking about that
mm.
defeated the Romans. Yeah, that's definitely gonna be in the process.
Yeah, bro. Facts. I feel like I want to get into filming, the filming industry. I feel like it's really interesting, bro. And it's like I feel like it's very fun as well. Like I like seeing the set, behind the scenes footage and all that type of stuff, and like just making something empowering, or like I don't know, just like a cool, just like a really cool movie, you know. It's like a really cool movie. I feel like that is like I feel like it would be fun, but you know, what do I know? You know what I mean? Yeah. All right. So I guess that's the end. Tell everyone where you can find us. Find you.
Yeah, I'm on Instagram. My name's X Moostar on Instagram. Pretty much the only place you can find me.
All right. All right. Sule.
Oh, so you gotta find me on Instagram, Sule.lotto5.
And shit, hey, if you're seeing this, you're seeing probably seeing this on my YouTube channels, probably one of them. So all links will be in bio.